Do you remember these guys? Bots have been a core part of the Counter-Strike experience since the very beginning. They've been around in every single installment of the series, serving as placeholders, practice dummies, and sometimes even as last-minute stand-ins for disconnected players. But on January 7th, 2021, everything changed. Valve removed bots from competitive and wingman modes in CSGO, leaving players shocked and frustrated. Why would they do this? Bots had been an integral part of the game for nearly 2 decades, and nobody in the community had asked for their removal. In fact, when the update rolled out, players were furious, criticizing Valve for making such a drastic change without any prior discussion. But as always, Valve remained silent, offering no clear explanation. So what was the real reason behind this decision? There are 3 key factors that likely influenced Valve's move. Let's break them down one by one. The first reason was to prevent bot abuse in competitive play. One of the most well-known strategies in older CSGO matches involved intentionally kicking a weak teammate to gain access to a bot. Why? Because bots were actually useful, sometimes even better than low-performing players. Here's how the exploit worked. If a player wasn't doing well, let's say they only had 2 kills in 12 rounds, their teammates, especially if they were a pre-made squad of 4, would vote to kick them out. Once the player was removed, the team would gain control of a bot, which any alive teammate could take over if they died. This meant that the team's best player essentially had an extra life every round. If they died early, they could immediately hop into the bot and continue playing. This tactic gave a huge competitive advantage to teams willing to abuse it. A skilled entry fragger could push a bomb site without any fear. If they died, they just take over the bot and try again. The moment Valve removed bots, this exploit was eliminated. Now if a teammate gets kicked or leaves, the match becomes a true 4v5 scenario, making players think twice before removing someone. Second reason was to reduce toxicity and random kicking. Let's be honest, Counter-Strike has never been the friendliest game. Toxic players are everywhere, and before bots were removed, some of them found creative ways to ruin games for others. One of the most infuriating trends was kicking teammates for no good reason. Some players didn't care about teamwork or strategy, they just wanted to troll. If they didn't like you, they'd kick you. If you weren't playing the way they wanted, they'd kick you. And if they were in a bad mood, guess what? They'd kick you. And do you want to know what was the worst part about all of this? They had 0 consequences coming their way for doing this. Because you know what? You would just get replaced by a bot anyway. And the team didn't actually lose a player, they just gained a mindless AI that they could control when needed. By removing bots, Valve forced players to think twice before kicking someone. Now if you kick a teammate, they're gone forever, and your team is permanently down a player. And what was the result? Fewer unjustified kicks and fewer griefers ruining matches just for the fun of it. The third reason was to encourage true 5v5 competitive play. Counter-Strike has always been about teamwork, strategy, and communication, but with bots in the equation, the game could be manipulated in unintended ways. Valve likely wanted to push the game towards a purer, more balanced 5v5 experience where you have to work with your teammates even if they're not the best players. You can't just sacrifice a teammate for a free bot. Teams are forced to cooperate more rather than relying on an AI-controlled replacement. Of course, this doesn't mean the experience is perfect. Far from it. Let's be real, you'll still get toxic Russian teammates who refuse to speak English, silent players who won't even buy a €4 microphone from their local Lidl, people who run down mid and throw games for fun. But hey, at least you won't get kicked unfairly just because some random idiot decided it was funny. At first, the removal of bots felt like a terrible decision, a betrayal of the classic Counter-Strike experience. But when you really think about it and break it down, Valve's reasoning makes sense. Peace!